From all around your lawn.
Good morning, welcome again to the GDFL Footy Show. It's Saturday morning and the wheels of the bus go round and round and round. They're all on their way just about up to Bendigo for the big Interleague game on this afternoon. It'll be an absolute beauty. The GDFL taking on the Heathcote Football League at the Queen Elizabeth Oval in Bendigo. But last week we had our normal round of matches with the East Geelong Eagles, too good for Inverleigh, having a horror season, the Hawks at the moment. Lucas Murphy, 6 goals, and Ricky O'Toole, once again, one of the best players. Good to see the veteran running around the paddock and playing great footy at the moment. The Belmont Lions, out at the Winter Resort, had their first win for the season, and they were too good for the Geelong West Cheetahs, with fabulous Freddie Logan kicking 4 goals. My word, they would have been excited out there. Don't worry about that, because I know the man on the floor, Cogsy's pretty happy about it as well. The North Geelong Magpies back in a winning vein against the Winchelsea Blues, who just can't take a trick in 2012. The young fella that kicked over 100 goals last year for the under-18s, North Geelong, Blake Miller, kicking 5 for the Magpies on Saturday. A great effort from Blake, really is turning into a great footballer. Out at the Ring Road Recreation Reserve, I think it was out there, maybe it was a Cry, don't know. Belpo still, they were much too good for the Cry Devils. They really are getting back to their 2011 premiership form, the Panthers, and Moreland kicking 5 goals there for the Panthers as well. Tommy Tighes, boy, are they the dream team at the moment. They can do nothing wrong. They have knocked off the Bannockburn Tigers, and the kicking goal machine, Lucas Forbes, unfortunately won't be taking part of the Interleague game this afternoon. Don't know why about that, but we'll have to find out, because it's not real good with these blokes pulling out at the last minute. But he may be injured, he may be not. But never mind, he kicked 11 goals. That's now 10, 7 and 11 the last 3 weeks for Lucas Forbes, who is in sensational form for the Tommy Tigers at the moment. And the 94.7 match of the day, the Anarchy Roos, they're in great form too, leading with Thompson, one of the great sides in 2012. Too good for the Ducks, 6 points. The Ducks came home with a rattling run. Feathers were flying, but they couldn't get over the Anarchy Roos, with Daniel Berg continuing his great form in 2012, kicking 5 goals. Hello, I'm Dick Philpott, and once again I have assembled some of the biggest names and brains in country football, including the Interleague coach, who's getting a little bit anxious because he's got to get on that bus very shortly. The man who played a lot of games in footy, including the North Geelong Magpies and the Winchelsea Blues, and he's now the coach of the Interleague side. Paul Price, good morning.
Morning, Dick. How are you?
Fantastic, mate, and I know you probably have a little bit to say later on in the show, because once again we have the same old problem again with Interleague footy, with people deciding that all of a sudden they've got weddings and bar mitzvahs and funerals and goodness knows what just happen to turn up on the weekend. But I guess it happens in every other league, but we're not happy when it happens in our league, folks, I can tell you now. The man who needs absolutely also no introduction, of course, he is the #1 commentator in country football, former Geelong champion, Eric Nicholls. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Dick, and I'm in great sympathy with Pricey, because I've been a great advocate of Interleague footy for many, many years, and it really riles me as a former coach when the players don't make themselves available, and perhaps they should. But let's hope the side can put it all together today.
Well, I'm sure the players that will be representing our league up there at Heathcote or Bendigo this afternoon will do their very best, because they have an opportunity now to probably to play in a side that they may not have normally had a crack in because of these guys pulling out. So we wish them all the very best, but we will have a little bit more to say about it a little bit later on the show. Last week, the big game up at the Duck Pond was the Anarchy Roos taking on Werribee Central's Footy Club. It was the 94.7 match of the day. Daniel Berg kicked 5 goals. Here he is with Eric Nicholls.
An outstanding performance and an outstanding win today. Daniel Berg for the Anarchy Football Club, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Daniel, all of a sudden in recent weeks you've found the ability to kick goals. 21 goals in, 4 weeks, and 5 today. Great performance.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Last year I rotated off the bench a lot more and just got more of a spell, but this time my spell's down forward, and I'm liking it a lot, actually, kicking goals.
Now, the game itself, absolutely in control of the game for 3 quarters, and looked like how far at 3/4 time. Was it the fact that you guys slowed, or did Werribee play so much better in the last quarter?
I think a bit of both. I think Werribee definitely kicked into their next gear. They were awesome in split the whole second half, and in the last quarter they dug deeper and found something else. And I think we just sort of pretty much didn't match it in that last quarter, and I think it's something we've got to work on.
Scotty McDonald, new coach this year. I know you've played under other coaches out at Anarchy. How's Scotty going? You happy with him, and is he happy with the team's performance?
Yeah, he's a pretty good coach. He lays the law down, and if we don't stick to it, we get put back in line pretty quick. And he's just got a few different things, and it's working, and it's suiting our players and our play style. So,
and the other thing that I'm told that you are supporting him in the fact that guys are getting to training.
Yeah, in recent years it gets colder out at Anarchy and the boys don't show up. But we're getting good numbers and didn't really show in our fitness today, but our fitness has picked up a bit from previous years, so yeah.
Now, I know it's only a third of the way through the season, Daniel, but is there any thought at all of finals?
We'd just love that 5th spot, but we're taking 1 week at a time, not getting too far ahead. And as you said, it's a long season, so we'll keep pushing and see how we go.
Eric will be back again next week with hopefully a good interview, particularly maybe coming from, well, he might be up there, Eric, but we'll probably see an interview from the big interleague game up at the Queen Elizabeth Oval at Bendigo this afternoon, and hopefully it's a victory interview at that. Well, Eric, the big game was last week up at the Duck Pond. Werribee Centrals, they came from nowhere trying to overcome Anarchy Roos, who led all day, but they couldn't quite make it. So, Anarchy the real deal, or did Werribee look like they were going to jump over the top of them?
Look, for 3 quarters, Anarchy was sensational and never looked like losing the game. They absolutely dominated. They played good, constructive team football. They used the ball well. And then I don't know what happened at 3/4 time. There was a huge change came over the Werribee side in particular, and they came rattling home. They probably had what was the scoring end, I'd suggest, but they maybe got the benefit of a few decisions went their way as well. Got on a run, and the last quarter was only 27, 28 minutes as against 31 for the other 3 quarters, and probably Werribee Centrals would consider themselves unfortunate, but I think the best side on the day won.
You just had a great interview there with Daniel Berg. He's been pretty consistent this year. Didn't see much of him last year, but he's playing some good footy at the moment. Yeah,
very good football, and I think he's pleased to be in a good side. And, 5 goals was a fair reward. He got them probably before 3/4 time, got a very heavy knock in the second half. Probably faded out of the game, but he's a huge asset to them. Costello's another good player up forward, and I really liked Wilson in the ruck, Perchek at ground level, fantastic players.
Yeah, Perchek, he's really playing some good footy at the moment too. Rosenweek for Werribee Centrals, I see he only kicked 3 goals. Did he play all the time on the forward line?
Yeah, pretty much. Montebruno came into the side, the 2 Montebruno boys. They are very strong players, one a left-footed forward and the other an on-baller, and they were both good players. Rosenweek probably is the key forward, pretty strong, but maybe lacks a bit of pace. Okay,
well, good effort there by the Anarchy Roos. They held on to a rampaging Werribee Centrals footy club, and both clubs have a bit of a rest this week for the interleague game, and they'll be back in full force next Saturday afternoon. We're going to take a break, pay some bills, and be right back with the Colts segment with Mitch Cleary. Back up.
We are the Raiders from all around Geelong. Tell you
and welcome back, and of course every Saturday morning we look forward to the segment that talks everything in Colts footy in Geelong, and here's Mitch Cleary.
Sorry, Dick, I'm actually covering for Mitch tonight. He's a bit crook, but hopefully he can get off his sickbed in time for Saturday, because we've heard from reliable sources that he will be captaining the GDFL Interleague Under-18 squad. But with or without him, they will be travelling up the highway to take on the Ballarat Football League at the East Ballarat Football Ground. While meanwhile, the BFL boys will be taking on the Western Border League here at Simmons Stadium at the special interleague time of 11:45am. So get on down there if you can. It's back to you, Dick.
Thanks, Mitch. And of course, Mitch will be back again next Saturday morning talking about everything that is Colts footy in the Geelong region. Well, we haven't talked about the ladder so far this year. It's 6 rounds in, and as we sit at the moment, those Tommy Tigers, the boys from the Godfrey Street Thunderdome, are sitting on top of the ladder, 6-zip. They're going all right at the moment. Gangbusters with their big combination down on the forward line of Forbes and McLeod. Things going along very, very nicely at the minute. Followed by last year's premiers, the Bellpost Hill Panthers, sitting on 5-1. Anarchy Roos doing everything right at the moment out at Footrot Flats. They cannot do a thing wrong, and they're sitting on 5-1, along with the North Geelong Magpies, who are yet to play a side above them at the moment. Everyone talks about that in footy, so I may as well bring that up as well. So hopefully the Magpies will fix that problem very, very shortly. Bannockburn just inside the 5, going along very nicely with the Tigers at the moment. No disgrace there to be beaten last week. And then followed by East Geelong Eagles, Werribee Centrals Footy Club, the Cryer Devils, Belmont Lions. They had their first win. They're pretty happy at the moment. They share that spot now with Geelong West, Inverleigh, and the poor old Winchelsea Blues sitting on the bottom of the ladder, unable to open their account at this stage. So hopefully there for the Blues, things will only get better for them at the Gun Club. Now, as we introduced in the first segment, we have a very special guest on the show this morning. He is the Interleague coach. He's also a great footballer in the local region. Everyone knows who the bloke is. He's played GFL footy, and he's played a bit of local footy as well with the Winchelsea Blues and the North Geelong Magpies. Had to bring that up as well. He is Paul Price. Good morning, Paul, again.
Good morning again, Dick.
Now, tell us a bit about yourself, mate. Now, you're the coach of the interleague side. I know your passion's always been not only playing footy, but playing interleague footy. It's a big thing. Where did Paul Price start playing his footy? Around Geelong?
Around Geelong originally with St Mary's.
Yep.
Sort of late 80s, which seems a very long time ago.
You a Catholic?
No.
No, you weren't.
No, but,
how'd you get a game at St Mary's? You weren't a Catholic.
Just very good recruiting, I think. Fell into that one. So was lucky enough to play there and sort of have a little bit of success late in the 80s. And then sort of from there, actually played under Bulldog Cromer, who then got me out to North Geelong for a couple of years.
Yep.
And I was a little bit young and led astray, I suppose, by some of the boys, and then moved down to Ocean Grove and was lucky enough to spend the next 4 or 5 years down there playing under Brendan McCartney and playing in some premierships, and thought, well, footy's pretty easy if you just keep winning them every year, so I'll just go away and do it somewhere else. But it took a long time before I got the next one, and that was back at North Geelong in 02. So, yeah, it sort of moved around a little bit, and I think as age and form got hold of me, I just kept dropping down a league, so to speak, and just loved every minute of it, though.
You had a stint out at the Winchelsea Blues. I know you're from Winchelsea, and it was a big effort out there to take them on. Unfortunately, now they're having a horror run at the moment. What's going on out there, mate?
Yeah, look, they are. It's difficult. It's one of those clubs where, and we found the same thing, you've got a turnover of players all the time, and you're asking blokes to drive past probably 10 or 15 clubs in Geelong to go out and play against a club that plays every second week in Geelong. So player retention is one of the biggest things, and we just don't have a lot of juniors out there.
Paul, you've had a great career, and I go back to that 2002 game where we were calling, actually, and it was great to see you playing in a premiership side. How much does it mean to you at that stage of your footy career to be in a premier side?
Yeah, look, it meant everything. Yeah, it's sort of, as I say, the last one was 96 at the Grove, and we'd won. You know, it came off the back of 93. We got beat 4. We won their first one. 5 we were premiers and champions. 6 we won it again. And I thought, geez, this footy's pretty easy. Like, you know, I may as well just go and do it somewhere else and keep enjoying them. You're going to win them every year. And then to have that period of 6 years and go to North, you know, and got to North, I think in 2000 they hadn't won a game. And then, you know, in 01 with Herney, we started to build something. 02 was the result of that. So, you know, to get a flag was just the icing. And I thought that was the end. And then I moved to Winch and it just kept rolling on.
And of course, we wouldn't let you get out of footy completely, because at one point we actually got you behind a microphone.
Yeah, look, it was great to sit the other side and see. Some clubs weren't all that fantastic that I sat behind and had to say what I had to say, but you call it as you see it. And I find that people's skins are a little bit thinner when other people are passing judgment on them and them passing it on you.
One thing about him, Dick, he always spoke from the shoulder, and very well respected.
Absolutely, and I know that 2002 grand final because I know how close it was, and only me and my dry cleaner knew how I was going in that last quarter, I can tell you. It was a very, very narrow win, and it was one of the most exciting grand finals in local footy. Now, you've started this year, you've been appointed the interleague coach. It's a big step up. I guess it's a challenge for you. I think you don't mind saying that it's disappointing interleague footy in the sense of players tend to drop out at the last minute. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, look, it is. And I still don't believe that I'm an interleague coach. You're an interleague manager.
Okay.
You only get to play, you get one game, you get 4 training runs with them, and you're not there to teach them how to play, how to kick and catch or get them fit. You just manage them the best you can over one game and try and get the right thing. The disappointing thing was that players don't see it as, you know, a great reward or an ultimate. And for mine, some players, this is the biggest game they're going to play for the year. They won't play finals footy. They haven't played finals footy for a few years. So you can see the genuine excitement from a couple of the Blue West blokes and a couple of the Winch kids that are training with us. Whereas others that you would hope that put in, impart a little bit of knowledge and want to play it, haven't. But in saying that, we're not the only league that's having trouble getting blokes to play interleague footy.
That's the bottom line. Every other league has the same problem as well. I think of the years gone by, though, and I see the players that had a culture of interleague footy about them, like the Ricky O'Tooles, the Darryl Jones, they just love playing it. And it's unfortunate some of the clubs haven't got that elder statesman that still gets selected into league footy that wants to represent their club and their league and their town.
Absolutely. Like, it is a reflection on your coach, it's on your club, it's on, you know, your whole upbringing. But unfortunately, people just don't like to challenge themselves these days. For these young blokes, they just like to go away, have the weekend off, and, you know, the blokes that are going to go on the bus are going to play against blokes that they know nothing about. They're going to play with blokes that they don't normally play with and play under a bloke that they don't normally have coach them. And I take my hat off to them.
Now, Price, before we go to a break, I've got to ask this question, mate. I've become a bit of a Facey fan these days. I jump on the old Facebook, and I noticed you've got a bit of a boot camp running down there at Winchelsea, the Paul Price Fitness Camp. What's going on there?
Yeah, look, we did go into fitness. The last couple of years I've been out taking Lara strength and conditioning, and it was just something I found after footy. I was a little bit lost. I had no one to yell at. The wife was yelling at me, so I thought I'd take up personal training and get to boss people around. The same thing happens to me. So, no, look, totally enjoy it. It's just another extension of what I do now.
I think it's a great thing, and going, as I said on Facebook there, and you've got some sort of a setup there, and is it your shed at the back of the house?
Yeah, out at Winch, we're on 5 acres, so they've got a fair bit of room to run around and lug poles and flip tyres and all that sort of stuff. So they have a bit of fun.
The big fella's getting puffed out just thinking about it, folks, I can tell you. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll analyse everything that's going to happen up at the Queen Elizabeth Oval this afternoon with the big interleague clash between the GDFL and the Heathcote Footy League. Back after this.
We are the Raiders from all around your lawn. I'm here to tell you how.
Welcome back, and I said yes before the break. It's the big game on this afternoon. All roads lead to the Queen Elizabeth Oval in Bendigo. The wheels of the bus go round and round and round, and Price is getting very anxious here in the studio at the moment because the bus is out the front waiting for him. He's ready to jump on. They won't go without him, and we hope there's a full squad of players sitting on there waiting to go up with him as well. It'll be fantastic. Now, they're playing the Heathcote League, folks. Now, the big fella's done a bit of research over the last week. 40 people are there that are dying to know who the Heathcote League is. We played them a couple of years ago, by the way, out at the Ring Road Recreation Reserve at Belfast Hill. But I can tell you now, the clubs that are in there: the Colburn Football Club, Elmore Football Club, the Heathcote Saints, the Huntley Hawks, the Leachfield Bombers, the Mount Pleasant Blues. You're interested in this, Price? You're interested in this. The North Bendigo Bulldogs, the White Hills Demons. Now, wait for this, folks. The Lockington Football Club. They won their first flag in 2011. They are the Cats, and they beat the Heathcote by 6 points. The first time they've ever won a flag in the history of the Heathcote Footy League. You're pretty impressed with that, Price?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've never seen a bloke look so riveting. It was unbelievable. So that's fantastic. So we know we're going up there. We know we can beat the Heathcote Footy League. We've beaten them before a couple of years ago, as I said, at Belfast Hill. I'll start with you, Paul. Tell us all about the side that you are taking up, hopefully, and how are they going to overcome the Heathcote Footy Club or Heathcote Football League?
Yeah, look, it's it's no secret that it's probably not the side that we hoped would be going on the bus. But in saying that, it's a wonderful opportunity for players that actually want to challenge themselves. Yep. As I said before the break, to get to play with blokes that you don't normally play with under a coach that doesn't normally coach you against an opposition that you don't normally play against is a challenge in itself. And I know there's already a couple of, there's 3 AFL talent scouts up there, so it's an opportunity for some of our kids that want to better their footy to jump on the bus, go up and have a go at it. The side in itself, we believe it's a blend of experience and some young run. We plan to open them up and really challenge them on the spread and see how we go with it. You're not going to implement a whole heap of structures and everything in one game of footy, and that's what I said, we manage them. So we'll just go up, we'll use the natural talent that the players have inside some basic guidelines, and we'll see how we go.
Pricey, I guess having been out of broadcasting for 2 years, I'm very impressed with the standard of footy this year in the GDFL. There's been some fantastic games, and there's some fantastic players running around, and I would think had you been able to produce the best possible side, it would have been a lay down misère.
Yep.
But with what you've got missing, I was quite impressed last week with young ruckman Wilson. He and Symes, I reckon they'd have to head your team today.
Yeah, you've hit it on the head. They're our ruck combination of Symes from Belpost Hill and Wilson from Anarchy. We believe both in really good form, and that's what it comes down to. Both of them committed really early. You know, it wasn't a matter of twist their arms, they wanted to do it. And I think that's the key to the ingredient to it. We've trained over the last 4 weeks in some basic drills to see who is the best blend and mix, and that's what we're taking away this morning.
And the good part about it, those young fellas who have committed, have been training, they're going to get their reward today because other guys have dropped out.
Yeah, look, it's disappointing. You know, when you go through our learning goal kickers, to not have Lucas Forbes, Murphy, Canavan, Brigette and Berg on the bus is something that we hoped wasn't going to happen at the start, but it has happened. And now you just move on from that. You know, our job is to put the best side out there. If something gets thrown up at us, as coaches or managers, we just rise to the challenge and we get the job done.
Interesting that the games that we've seen, there seems to be some great consistency. Addy from Belpost Hill, the fellow from East Geelong, Chalice, they're in the best players week after week. I know they're in your squad. De Blasio from North Geelong, a young fella who's stood up, and they're all training. I guess they'll get their reward.
Absolutely, they will. And you know, we go even further. Young Matty Tyquin kicked a bag of 10. Admittedly, it was against Winchelsea, and there wasn't probably a lot to stop him from doing it. But you've still got to find the footy 10 times and kick goals. Dylan Smith from Corio, been super impressed as a kid, and really, that's what I don't understand with some of the older ones that can come in. It's not just about this one game. If you can come in and come to interleague training, your kids that you get to train with are going to go back to your own individual clubs and play better footy after the interleague as well. And some people just don't get their head around it. They think it's one game of footy, and to mine, it's more than that.
Nice to see. Saw a bloke called Ladgrove with Anarchy last week. New into our league, and a little bit about him from elsewhere, but he was very impressive. Rickett, been around for a while, both the Rickett boys, but they're enormous assets at Anarchy side. My understanding is they've been training.
Absolutely. Rickett, Stevie Rickett captains the side. Travis Fursland is our vice captain. We take those up from Bellpost Hill. We believe we've got two fantastic leaders there. Ladgrove's a strong kid that will start him forward, but we believe he can play at both ends of the ground. And it's just a reward for the way that he's worked, the way that he's trained, and the way that he's come into our league and shown other players what standard they need to get to.
And I know it's difficult from year to year to find anything about your opposition, but obviously from what we're hearing, Heathcote Footy League are having much the same problems we have about their top players not playing.
Absolutely, and you read, Sunday's Herald Sun with Favola making a heap of money up the bush but not playing interleague, Nathan Thompson coaching Kite and not playing interleague. It just goes on through everything, and I think we need to make interleague footy not a game of footy but an event. Something has to be done. That you had a look at the State of Origin on Wednesday night in the rugby. I never watched rugby league, but I watch that for whatever reason. It's just an event. It's something that draws you in, and hopefully we can make interleague footy that.
It's sad, Pricey, when you've got to basically incentivise the players. I think of the players like a couple of years ago, we didn't have an interleague side, but they actually picked one anyway and awarded them with their jumpers to represent the supposed game that never ever took place. And I always think some of those guys, they've got a jumper at home now, they've got a photo at home on their wall, interleague side, but they never get to kick a footy in anger. And I bet some of those guys would be saying, gee, I wish we had a crack at the Heathcote League. We miss out on having a crack at interleague footy at all.
Absolutely. You just ask yourself, on your weekend off, on interleague weekend, what did you do? Some will say, oh, gee whiz, I went and got drunk for the weekend, I went and watched a game of AFL. Or are you going to put on your CV, I went away to Horsham or Bendigo, played against the Heathcote District Footy League and played interleague footy. I know what looks better on my CV.
I know. You're a long time out of footy, as you know, when you retire. And I mean, just to have that in your CV, as you said, at least to say you've played some interleague footy in your life. We've had some big interleague games over the year, Eric. I think you and I, we travelled down to Inverloch about 13 years ago and scared the living suitcase out of their producer as I climbed down the ladder.
Now, in what way do you consider it big, Dick? That was an enormous day at Inverloch.
What do you think? What are you talking about? It's enormous, Eric. Where are we going there again?
I'm not casting aspersions at all, Dick. I think if the cap fits, wear it.
We went up to the Mountain Valley League, Fooksur and Omwara. I can't remember up there, weren't they? It was big. Monkhouse was running around in the rain.
It was a bit wet that day, wasn't it?
2 inches deep in water.
We were dead set going to be the first commentators in the history of football to be electrocuted because we were sitting in about 6 inches of water in the commentary van and with about 3.5 million volts of wires running around our feet. I thought, is this what's going to happen? We're all going to finish up like this. Unbelievable. Well, Pricey, good luck this afternoon, mate. I know you want to get on that bus, and it's a big opportunity for you. I know you don't call yourself the coach, but more the player manager of guys that should know what they're doing already. Good luck, and hopefully that the Raiders can bring home a win for the GDFL. I know with a couple of things happening with Bellarine that somehow, maybe next year or the year after, we can play the Bellarine interleague footy in Geelong. That may cause a little bit of interest amongst local footballers. If that doesn't, I don't know what will. But all the best, mate, and get up there, get that wheels of the bus going round and round and come back with a big win for the Raiders today, OK?
We'll certainly try.
Thanks for coming in, mate. Eric, you enjoy your weekend and have a lovely break. I know that you had previous commitments. You can't go up to Bendigo today, but have a great weekend and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks very much, Dick. I'll watch the result with great interest.
Good on you, mate. Thanks very much for your company again this morning. Good luck to the Raiders this afternoon. We really do hope they do well. If you're not getting up there, tune to 94.7 The Pulse, your home of country football from 1:30 this afternoon. We can streamline it on the computer. OK, all the best and have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you all again next Saturday morning. Bye for now.
We are the Raiders from all around Geelong.